Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday, September 12th, 1 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for joining me and not the Apple whatever event they've got going on. I think maybe we'll compete with them for views on this stream. But we have a lot to check in on just in the sense that things are shifting a little bit today and there's a pretty key hold of support. But as we know, we need follow through and we need bulls to prove to us trends. And so essentially what happened is we've been weak for 2 weeks. The bulls haven't done a thing. We just broke to 3-month lows. We broke 25,000, but we did not break the secondary support. So what we have here is the primary support was 25.2, the lowest level in 3 months. The secondary support was the lowest level in 6 months, and that was 24.7 thousand. And so that is a support zone. And you can see we dipped down right into the middle of the support zone and had a V-shaped bounce. Now we know V-shaped bounces are nice and exciting, but they don't do anything to change the trends. That is the work that has to be put in. So we V-shaped to daily resistance, and we did just break it here, but a top being set on that break. This is the 15-minute time frame. It's looking like the bulls may be tiring a bit, watching this to be a potential rising wedge. And so if this 15-minute looks like it did just break more of a channel, well, you can draw it to be a wedge like this. Either way, if we confirm a 15-minute downtrend from here, and we certainly have enough space for a 15-minute lower high next bounce, if we confirm a 15-minute downtrend from here, 4-hour consolidation will be underway. And the big question for me is, can we confirm a 4-hour uptrend? When's the last time we've confirmed a 4-hour uptrend? It was back here. It hasn't been too long, but if this move is going to have follow through into the daily resistance and break that daily resistance, we must confirm the 4-hour uptrend. And really, what this is going to boil down to is the CPI tomorrow. CPI at 8:30 a.m. Eastern is going to see a significant reaction in the dollar, the metals, stocks, and Bitcoin. They're all going to see a volume and volatility spike at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. And that's going to either be a bearish reaction, which sends us down 60% plus retracement, or a bullish reaction that confirms a 4-hour trend change, assuming that 4-hour consolidation has started sometime in the next 16 hours before that takes shape, or I should say before that takes place. So CPI is going to determine, in my opinion, whether we confirm a 4-hour uptrend or not, and that is tricky because it's an unknown fundamental event. Let's go through both scenarios. As always, as traders, we want to lay out game plans for both scenarios. Bears are top fishing this high right now and shorting that and saying, all right, if we confirm the 4-hour uptrend, I'll stop out because bulls will prove to me follow through from that support hold. Bulls, if they're not already in, I probably wouldn't be entering because again, it would be just so easy for a wick to just stop you out and then that volatile reaction. So really the only bulls in these positions at this point are the really aggressive bulls that played off of this support. And if we confirm a 4-hour uptrend and a bullish reaction to the CPI numbers, then we'll get to the highest level in almost 2 weeks. And that will shape up the possibility that bulls can continue holding the support zone. So this is now the support, as it has been. Not much has changed. The only thing that's changed is another hold. We've been holding it for an entire month, and now this is 5 weeks in a row where we've held this support zone. And the only time we're going to have conviction that this longer-term support zone can hold is confirming a daily uptrend and getting back to 28,000 plus. But one step at a time, we're going to start with the 4-hour trend, knowing that's where the bulls have to prove something to us. The dollar is still strong. The dollar is seeing a daily pullback and trying to form a daily bull flag. CPI is either going to confirm a daily bull flag for a new 52-week high on the dollar or have us retrace 50% plus and try and shape up more significant weekly consolidation because we haven't seen any meaningful weekly consolidation in months at this point. And that's the next step is, can the dollar bulls confirm a convincing weekly uptrend after we get multiple weeks of consolidation? But we don't have that consolidation just yet, and we're not going to get it as long as the daily uptrend is still strong. Dominance chart just showing us that Bitcoin is leading this move off of support. And there was a little bit of an altcoin heads up again, and it certainly happened many times this year, but over the weekend on Sunday, altcoins, I was looking at my list on Sunday, and normally Saturday, Sunday, you're looking at moves of 1 to 3% and very limited volatility. And I was looking at the list Sunday and seeing -3, -4, -5%, a lot of names, and saying, that's a bit more weakness than we usually see on a weekend. That's a bit more volatility than we usually see on a weekend. And then, of course, the next day rolls around, the altcoins stay weak, and Bitcoin followed through with the support break as well. So altcoins remain certainly weaker than Bitcoin overall. And again, keep an eye on them for clues, because as soon as Sunday, we're hovering over daily support on Bitcoin. And as soon as we see a bunch of altcoins dropping to lower lows, it's just the probability needle, and the probability needle increases for a Bitcoin support break if altcoins are breaking their supports first. So worth paying attention to just little clues like that. We've got a free ebook, Anatomy of a Trade. Find the right components for an A+ trade for free. So I'm going to post this link here. It'll help you find ways to find your ideal setups, when to scale up in terms of position size, why to scale out in terms of taking profit. So posting that in the chat room, and I'll post that in the link of this YouTube video once we're done. And just a little 4-page ebook kind of deal with some info. ETH. So ETH is weaker than Bitcoin. ETH has been rejecting from daily EMA 12 for 2 weeks. And it's weaker in the sense that right now Bitcoin is testing this level and ETH is not close to that level. That level is 1669, and we are still multiple percent away from that. And so we look at ETH BTC and we know it's weak. ETH BTC just hit the lowest level in almost a month. And we're watching this potential falling wedge, but we know that ETH is a better bear than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is a better bull than ETH as long as this quadruple top is resistance. And we've been watching this for months at this point. Rejection, 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 and now rolling over back towards the low. The only hope for the bulls is that this is a weekly falling wedge, but I would need to see a drop and another bounce if I'm going to be paying any attention to that. Right now, all I care about is this chart is telling me that ETH is weaker than Bitcoin. Same thing, ETH has to confirm a 4-hour uptrend, but even if we do, that daily resistance will still be in play. Whereas if Bitcoin confirms a 4-hour uptrend, we're breaking daily resistance. So pretty noticeable difference between the two. XLM. So XLM just hit the highest level in a month, just under a month. And so that stands out. But we know a weekly lower high is the most likely result of this bounce. And so we're watching this on the XRP reaction with the low, high, higher low is now set. And we know anything under 1977 is just a weekly lower high. And with the current bounce retracement size, it's potentially a weekly bear flag. So the bulls have to prove to us that this is not a weekly bear flag. And the only way they're going to do that is by setting a daily high or low and breaking resistance for a new high. Because if we don't do that, it's a weekly bear flag. What the bears want to see is a big enough pullback to shape up a little head and shoulders to try and confirm a daily downtrend and confirm that weekly bear flag. So a little bit of relative strength, but it's now turning into relative weakness. Look at that 4-hour candle, completely opposite what Bitcoin just did. So 4-hour downtrend confirmed. And again, just weakness short term, but keeping an eye out as to whether or not that's going to be a weekly bear flag. OP, wanted to just give an example of the number one reason you will see relative strength or relative weakness shift on an individual stock or crypto is if the individual name holds a key level or rejects from a key level. And so OP saw relative strength form at this double bottom. As soon as the bulls said, we're going to try and defend this support, things shifted significantly, and we've seen a solid bounce. We bounced off of it, stayed weak, held it, and then broke resistance. And so again, nothing, massive, but an aggressive bull off that bottom fish, we ended up seeing follow through of 13%, and even a patient bull on the resistance break, we ended up seeing follow through of 7%. So keep an eye out. You know, it's still important. Big Daddy Bitcoin and the correlation dictates a ton, but it is still important to watch the individual levels because we can clearly say OP defended this support, and I would call that a double bottom at this point, and significantly shifted short-term momentum by defending that support. So now the big question is, can the bulls confirm a daily uptrend when this bounce tops out to try and set a weekly higher low? But I just wanted to give that example because there are many times, I mean, Tesla just comes to mind. The amount of times Tesla has shown us this, and this one comes to mind going way back to last year, but Tesla was a lead bull, one of the strongest stocks in the market, and we rejected right here from resistance by under $1, and everything changed from that point forward. We went from massive relative strength to just free fall relative weakness in the span of a few days, and it was all because of that resistance rejection. Not all, but mostly. So keep an eye out for key levels and watch how the price responds to them because that helps shape relative strength and relative weakness. Even with this Bitcoin bounce, we know a lot of names are still scouting daily lower highs. Mana and Sand just hit the lowest levels we've seen this year. So they're still lead bears. And right now, you know, Mana can bounce 8% from where we stand and still be in a daily downtrend. So we're also going to keep that in mind. Weekly and daily downtrends on our weaker altcoins are still our guides. And if Bitcoin does not confirm a 4-hour uptrend, they're going to keep fading to lower lows. And so again, the weakest names, Ape, certainly a lead bear. It's been that way for a long time. Sand, Mana, Sol has been joining the lead bears. Why Sol? Sol's got the narrative of FTX holdings being sold and a lot of them being sold. And so that would increase supply and that would decrease price. So we're seeing that being priced in. One thing about unlocks, and stocks have this, stocks have share unlocks known in advance. You drop and price it in, and then when it actually happens, that's not where the downside is to be had. Oftentimes, unlocks being official can mark temporary bottoms because the market prices them in to a large part. And so Sol BTC started dumping over the last week when that narrative started, you know, coming out and all the posts on social media and Twitter just making everybody aware, hey, this is coming. And so we get the big flush down. Sol sees the weakest it's been compared to Bitcoin in the last 3 months, I should say. And Sol also lost $20 support, which was a key level. And so where do we stand? Well, weak. Monthly time frame rejecting from EMA 12. And we're trying to form a monthly higher low compared to 1280. But keep an eye on Sol BTC because, again, it will stay relatively weaker for a while, in my opinion. And then maybe once, you know, definitely once there's confirmation that those coins have been liquidated, we should see a pretty solid bounce in response to that. But that may be a while. I'm not sure if there's any kind, I doubt there's any kind of timeline in terms of, you know, when to expect that to be official. But Sol BTC will tell us when things are shifting. Because again, that relative weakness has been poking around, but then started to accelerate this past week. And there's other coins as well that FTX is holding. I had the list somewhere, and I don't have it handy. All right, I'm reading the chat room right now. Thanks for tuning in, all 112 of you and the 42 likes. Again, CPI tomorrow will be key. Have to wait and see what the reaction is. Pete, nice job with the entry. Protect that position because if Bitcoin breaks 24.7 thousand, we can anticipate that, you know, the bounce yesterday just added more stop losses to this zone. Any bulls that longed it. So if we do break this 24.7 level eventually and get to 6-month lows, I do anticipate a decent amount of stop losses under that level. How much of the FTX liquidation is BTC? Again, I forget off the top of my head. Let's see if we can get the graphic real quick. But I remember looking at it and the BTC aspect didn't seem like a big deal to me. Just looking for a graphic here. Let's see how Google did. Nah, so that's January. That's outdated. But you can see Sol is certainly significant. One more try here, and then I'll keep reading your messages. Need a date, September. So that's obviously much more relevant. So it's still Sol. Bitcoin, 350 million. It's not nothing. But Sol is the headline grabber for that situation. XLM dumped on news. I was wondering what that inverse relationship to Bitcoin was the last couple of hours. Let me know what that news is, please. Otherwise, I'll look after the stream. But we need to set a daily high or low compared to 1173. So bulls are hoping for a bounce to originate right now, because if that's the case, then we'll have this downtrending support to be keeping an eye on. And there's already plenty of touches. I'd be keeping an eye on that downtrending support. ETH bears definitely in full control. Is the 15-minute back burner on the table? No. What is the criteria of a back burner? We've got to be coming from significant strength. We are in a monthly, weekly, daily downtrend. So we can't forget, I guess we're not in a monthly downtrend. We're in a weekly and daily downtrend. So we can't forget that the longer term trends are bearish. We're not coming from a breakout. Back burners are most ideal in blue sky breakout. They're second most ideal in monthly, weekly, daily uptrends. They're third most ideal in weekly and daily uptrends coming after a big bull move. They're fourth most ideal in daily uptrends coming after a big news bull move. They're fifth most ideal. So you get the idea. We're not anywhere near an ideal scenario for back burners. In fact, we're still in bear back burner territory on a lot of these altcoins. You know, these altcoin bounces, bears are watching for hourly overbought to short. I mean, look at Link. Link's hourly RSI at the top of this candle was up in the upper 60s, didn't quite get to 70, but that marked the top. So we're in, and a lot of these altcoins are in monthly, weekly, daily downtrends, and so bears are using the back burners because they have all the trends in their favor. ADA, that hourly RSI, got right up to 70 at the top there of that bounce. Gotta take this real quick. Might be natural gas delivery I need. Hey, I'm back. Thanks for sticking with me. All right. Why did I stop using the MACD? Wait, nope, we're not there just yet. We'll get to that one. ETF that shorts the cannabis sector? No. If you can't find it on Google, the answer is no. So it does not exist. And if it does, there's zero liquidity and it's untradeable. Why did I stop using the MACD? Because MACD is a lagging indicator. It shows a shift in momentum. I get that information from price trends, but I also get it from EMA 12 and 26. They serve the same purpose on their crosses. So I'll look at long-term, if I can find a chart and see the EMAs have been crossed a certain way for a certain period of time. CMPS, psychedelic name on the weekly time frame. We have had a bear cross for over a year, and it's just now on the verge of crossing bull for the first time. I pay attention to that. It's just a little piece of the puzzle, but I treat that as the MACD. It's very similar. Thanks, OG Itchy, for encouraging the likes. Crypto is definitely dead right now, and that will change eventually, but it's the same thing. Cannabis was dead for over a year. All of our analytics were junk. News hits cannabis. Names run 80 to 300% in the last 2 weeks. Analytics on fire. They're my most viewed live streams. It's just a complete night and day difference. They're my most, viewed tweets. It's just, the change happens very fast. So we are definitely in a lull in crypto from an interest perspective. And the only way it's going to change rapidly is a rapid ascension of price or a news headline. And otherwise, we just patiently wait. It's part of the cycles, right? That's the way it works. Where we get lulls and euphoria. Boring, nobody cares, and it's all everybody's talking about. Just part of the game. I'll cover MJ at the end of the day video. Again, I cover MJ all day. I've been typing about MJ for the last 4 hours, talking about MJ on the live stream. So, sick of MJ at the moment. And we'll touch base in 3 hours. The video will be going over it. There is some bear exhaustion on Bitcoin. I will agree with that. Just because bears have had control and obviously the inability to break support. But here's Bitcoin now seeing 4-hour consolidation underway. So we got to watch this retracement size. If we go 50% plus retracement under 25.7 thousand, it's here we go again as far as just giving back the move. You got it, Flecky. Thanks for the XLM news. Doesn't mean anything to me, but good enough. So dot BTC. What is it showing us? It is showing us that DOT is the weakest it's been compared to Bitcoin. On Binance, pretty much ever. At least 2.5+ year lows. So we can make a simple statement. If weekly EMA 12 is resistance, as it has been for the last 7 months, DOT is weaker than Bitcoin and will stay weaker than Bitcoin and is not a good long. And so you go to DOT USDT, and all we've got here, well, we already broke it, we're at fear lows. Any coin that is hitting the lowest level in years is a lead bear. And so, again, there's no short-term hope here. Eventually, it'll shift when, some hype and euphoria returns to crypto, I'm sure, but it's just a slow bleeder. And here we are down 90 whatever percent from all-time highs and in a downtrend on every single time frame with zero support. So I guess we got support at 360, 353. But it is definitely a lead bear. NASDAQ bulls going up. Looks like Apple getting a decent little response to their stuff. Whatever they're talking about, phones and stuff. Financial sector has strength today. Crypto stocks, we didn't talk about those. So Riot held support by a couple pennies, but still is very weak on the daily. MARA had bearish news last week. Dilution, relative weakness, hit the lowest level in over a couple of months. If you look at MARA divided by Riot, we set the weekly lower high, showing us the relative weakness return. Watch how this equilibrium breaks. If this pattern, MARA divided by Riot, if this breaks eventually bear, it means look to short MARA on any weak setups, bear setups, and long Riot on any bull setups. And if it breaks bull, it's the opposite. But this is going to help us determine which name to look at for which direction based on relative strength and relative weakness. And it was a news event for MARA that drastically changed things. Coin is much stronger than both, but Coin had a real hard rejection from daily resistance today. We rejected by pennies and then a 5% plus drop. Just a real hard rejection. Wish I was watching that one a little bit more closely. Instant, that's a 7% drop in an hour. But the daily chart is still stronger. The fact that we did just test the highest level in a month, but it rejected. And that's similar to Bitcoin. Let's see, when did we hit that high? End of August, start of September. Bitcoin rejecting from daily resistance. It hit that level a week later, but they're both rejecting from daily resistance is the bottom line. Can you use Monday's range as a clue on the beginning of the week? No, not any more than any other day. Just using price level trends. Monday doesn't stand out to me. I mean, we know Sunday night into Monday, volume picks up a bit as it's now no longer the weekend. But generally speaking, Monday doesn't stand out to me as far as giving information for the week. All right, last one, BCH. Weekly higher low is... So I'm viewing this as a low, high of the bounce, which is a lower high, and now we have a higher low at 180.50, and so we must break 228.40 to confirm a little weekly uptrend. If we don't break that, we're just going to keep tightening up sideways. If you look at the 2-day time frame, it condenses it a little bit. Let's go to the 3-day. Just low, high, higher, low. Good old-fashioned tightening range. We need a 4-hour uptrend to confirm. That has not happened yet. It's a nice move off the lows. Definitely a big response there. One of the bigger green candles today. And we are looking for a monthly higher low as the most likely result of this consolidation. And so that's now a must-hold level, 180. Because if 180 breaks from here, that tells us, nope, the monthly higher low is not shaping up. But if we hold 180 from here and work on that tightening range and eventually break it bull, even if it requires more tightening, that's going to be the monthly higher low shaping up. So it's nice in the sense that we now have a new support level. The support level before was 165, and now 180 is the new must-hold level. All right. Appreciate you all tuning in. I'm about to be on Sin City Crypto's YouTube channel here in 30, 45 minutes or so. So you can catch me over there. And again, cannabis after hours. It's definitely the start of consolidation on the daily time frames for most names. And so we'll talk about what that means at the end of the day. Thanks again for the support. Hang in there. Don't overtrade. In this environment, it'll return. It always does. Just the cycle. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're about to go to all-time highs this halving cycle. I am not on board with that. I'm not saying we won't. I am saying I am extremely open to the possibility that we do not hit all-time highs this halving cycle. I'm extremely open to the possibility that we do. And by having that mindset, I'm not going to be surprised by anything that happens. There's going to be a ton of bulls that are shocked if we don't hit all-time highs. And what that means is positioned incorrectly. Don't let that be you. Have a game plan for both. I've never seen a known event not get priced in at a certain point. And so you have the 2017 bull run where I learned about halvings. And okay, halving's not priced in. Now the 2021 bull run. Okay, well now another bunch of million people are on board with the halving narrative. My other friends who don't trade and don't do markets are talking about halving. At some point it gets priced in. And I just don't know if that's this time or do we have another time to go. I don't know. But I know markets are real efficient at pricing in known events. And on that note, do good things.